One of the big changes in the offseason for Major League Baseball, Jack, as we know, the slide into second base and creating new rules. It's become very complicated, very controversial. Explain it in 5 seconds. Go. No, that would be impossible because it has created a lot of confusion. We go back to last offseason. That's where we really see it. The postseason, the slide by Chase Utley into second base. And Major League Baseball looked at this hard slide and said, we need to do something.
They did, Bob. And a new rule is called Rule 6.01. But around baseball, some people are calling it the Chase Utley rule because of what you just said. This hard slide into Tejada during the postseason, knocking Tejada out of the game and out of the series. Utley eventually got suspended, a suspension that he never served, Bob.
So then we come into this season, and within the first week, we've got a game-ending double play, which the Blue Jays certainly didn't feel was like one.
Right. Jose Bautista interfering with the infielder, and then Rasmus, same thing, Bob, an interference call, double play to end the game. No team wants to see that. No one in baseball wants to see that. It's players getting adjusted to this new rule.
You know, the Blue Jays reeled a little after that. I think they lost 4 in a row. So then maybe that kind of got in their heads. It is controversial. Not everybody understands it. I know it's not easy to explain, but give us the nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts are this. If you are a runner going towards second base, you must make a bona fide attempt to slide into second base and to remain on the base. You cannot change your slide once you've started to slide to impede a fielder and break up a double play. That's what Bautista did. You also can't roll block an infielder. That's what Utley did. Now, because they've made these changes, Major League Baseball has also now changed the neighborhood play. Infielders used to be able to get that ball, hop off the base a millisecond earlier to give them a chance to complete the throw to first base. That doesn't exist anymore. Umpires are calling that more closely, and it's also subject to video review. So if you've digested all that and you've dissected all that, we're going to head out to Yankee Stadium, where I had the chance to talk to Joe Espada about all these changes. Let's start with that neighborhood play. What have you told your infielders about being on the base now, and maybe some tricks of the trade they can use?
Number one, we're telling the second baseman to wait for this throw behind second base. Left foot on the back. Get here early enough where we have a chance to read the throw coming from the left side of the infield. Now, when we receive that throw, it's just a little jab step to get rid of the baseman. 2, I'm telling my third baseman and shortstop, let's feed their second baseman behind the bag. Because now this is the only element that we have to protect the second baseman from the runner sliding into us.
How about letting the baseball travel to you? How important a part of that is this play?
Absolutely, and that's when the neighborhood play is not there anymore. We used to be, as soon as that ball was thrown, we used to just take that right foot to the ball and get out there. Sometimes we were not even near the bag. That, right now, we can't do that anymore. We can still go across the bag if that throw takes us into the base runner, but we must allow the ball to travel. You know, we need to let the ball get to us. So when we receive that ball, that left foot needs to be on the back before we replace our feet and make a throw to first base.
So that Castro play in Detroit, he had the neighborhood play come back to bite him once already this season. Did he do anything wrong on that play? Or was there a different adjustment that he should have made? He got out of the way of the runner, but he just didn't keep his foot on the base long enough.
What happened was that ball took him into the runner, so he decided to replace his feet into the runner, so he never had a chance to stay on the back. If that ball takes you into the base runner, best way it is just to clear that path and let that base runner slide into that baseline.
You guys see a lot of Dustin Pedroia. He's a Gold Glove second baseman. I've heard him say that he makes a circle around the base, and then he tells himself, I need to stay within that circle. Is that something that all infielders do?
You know, people do circle. I like to do a square. I know guys that like to do a line in each corner of the bag. So everything they do is inside those lines. Nothing is in the path. Everything is inside those lines. But if you come here and you're not in a good position and now you get a poor throw, that's what you get yourself in trouble.
Joe, we've talked a lot about how this play impacts infielders. You also work with the Yankee base runners. And I know for base runners, it's a change. They're used to being instinctual. They're used to being aggressive. Now, I guess the best way to describe it is when you slide into that base, it has to be a controlled slide.
Correct. We don't want our guys to lose their aggressiveness. keep running the bases hard and just slide into the bag. If the defender goes across the bag, do not reach with your hands for him. Just continue your path, continue your slide, and stay on the base.
So we've talked about slides that are legal slides, and now we're actually going to demonstrate one to you.
That's a good slide.
Now, what was good about that?
You know, he slid early. He caped the line. Normally, we want the guys to maybe stay low, not to pop up as much. Because when you pop up, you'll be coming with more speed during the game. So that's when normally you could trip over with so much force you coming. So you might be trip over, you might fall over me, and that we might get a double play call on that one.
We're going to show an illegal slide. Joe's going to come across the bag, and we want you to change the path of your slide after you've already started it to go after the infielder, so to speak. That will be interference. He's out,
Absolutely.
and the batter's out.
Yeah.
But, Joe, for so many years, that was a legitimate baseball play, and if you did that, say, in Willie Randolph's day, they would say to you, aggressive base running, you broke up the double play.
Right.
So, again, going back to the infielder base runner adjustment, that's a bigger adjustment for the base runner not be able to do that.
Absolutely. The runner's got to make adjustments. As a defender, I'm also got to make adjustments.
Joe, we appreciate you letting us hang around second base with you, describing the changes, Rule 6.01. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the season and beyond.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that is some great insight. These are the rules that Jack was alluding to. If a runner does not engage in a bona fide slide and initiates contact with the fielder for the purpose of breaking up a double play, he should be called out for interference. Potential violations of the rule will be reviewable using instant replay, and we've seen it used so far in those controversial plays with the Astros and Blue Jays. Moving on to the other key elements of this, a player begins his slide or makes contact with the ground. He has to do that before reaching the base. He attempts to reach with his hand or foot. He has to be close to the bag and then, of course, try and remain on the plate except home plate. So, Jack, a variety of things. And what we've seen is the chatter after all this is, well, Major League Baseball is going to have to tweak some of this. Do you really think they're going to do that?
I don't think they are going to tweak these rules, Bob. I think they made these rules for a reason, and I think they're going to have infielders and base runners on every team. You're going to have to adjust to these rules. The one thing I will say, the umpires need to use common sense. We showed that Rasmus play for the Astros where he had no intention of interfering with the fielder, and the fielder had no intention of trying to turn a double play. He should not have been called for interference there.
Now, they're probably not going to ever get rid of this rule. So does that mean you're going to have to change the way you coach guys in the minors?
Oh, I talked to Joe Espada about that. Absolutely, Bob. You all the way down to the minor leagues, from Class A all the way up to the major leagues. Now, everyone needs to be sliding in a way that it will not be called for interference at the major league level. That means that you're sliding into the base, you're staying on the base. You can be aggressive, but you have to be controlled.